Hi, I'm Dr. Neenu Garg. In this session, I will discuss types of schedulers. Let's start. The different type of schedulers in operating system code are short-term scheduler. It is also termed as CPU scheduler, long-term scheduler or job scheduler, and medium-term scheduler. Operating system is a complete package of different softwares. Short-term scheduler, long-term scheduler, medium-term scheduler are part of the operating system package. First, we will discuss about short-term scheduler. Short-term scheduler is also called CPU scheduler or dispatcher. It selects which process should be executed next and allocated to CPU. The decision is based on some pre-selected algorithm. That algorithm can be first come first serve, shortest job first with preemption, without preemption, round robin. Sometimes it is the only scheduler in a system. So it is possible that a system has only short-term scheduler and there is no long-term scheduler or medium-term scheduler. Short-term scheduler is invoked frequently in milliseconds. Generally, short-term scheduler executes at least once every 100 milliseconds, which means in 1 second it is invoked 10 times. As you can see, this is a snapshot of main memory. So there are 4 programs in main memory. So CPU scheduler or short-term scheduler will select any one program out of these available programs and allocate that program to CPU. Before understanding long-term scheduler, let's discuss process types. There are two different types of processes. They can be input-output bound processes and there can be CPU bound processes. The processes which take much of the time doing input-output rather than computations are said to be input-output processes. Here you can see the term CPU burst. CPU burst is the time which is taken by a process on CPU. CPU bound processes. These are those processes which need more time on CPU and so they have very long CPU bursts and short IO bursts. And such processes are CPU bound processes. Now let's discuss long-term scheduler. Long-term scheduler is also known as job scheduler. It selects a process from job queue and it loads that process into memory for execution. The primary objective of job scheduler is to provide a balanced mix of jobs such as IO bound jobs and CPU bound jobs. It means that let us assume the case that all the processes in main memory are input output bound jobs. And if they are input output bound jobs, then they will come in main memory and each of them will spend a small time on CPU and all they will be put in the waiting queue for that particular device, for that particular input output device. And most of the time CPU will be sitting idle. Now take another case. If all the processes are CPU bound processes, then what will happen? Whenever processes will come, they will go to CPU for execution. After that, they will need some input output, but their IO bursts are very small because they are CPU bound jobs. So they will quickly finish their input output and go again to the ready queue, waiting for CPU. So they will be waiting in the ready queue for a long time. So it is the job of long-term scheduler that it has to select a proper mix of jobs so that CPU is not sitting idle and IO devices are not sitting idle. It controls the degree of multi-programming. Some systems may not have long-term scheduler. It is invoked less frequently than short-term scheduler. Now, long-term scheduler will be invoked only when a process leaves the system. That is, it is terminated. So when a process is terminated, then there is space in ready queue, right? So long-term scheduler will be invoked to fill that space, right? However, short-term scheduler is invoked whenever there is a switching of CPU from one process to another. Whenever there is some interrupt that occurs, short-term scheduler is invoked. If the degree of multiprogramming is stable, then the average rate of process creation must be equal to the average departure rate of processes leaving the system. By this we mean that if the number of processes that are in main memory, it remains consistently same for quite a long time. Like if there are 4 processes in main memory and there are always 4, sometimes 3, 4, 3, if it is nearly stable, it means that the rate of process creation is almost equal to the rate of processes which are exiting from the system. Now let's understand third type of scheduler, which is medium-term scheduler. The key idea behind a medium-term scheduler is that sometimes it is advantageous to remove a process from memory. And if we are removing a process from memory, it means we are decreasing the degree of multiprogramming. Now, removing the process from memory and bringing the process again into memory is known as swapping. The process is swapped out and later it is swapped in. And this swapping out and swapping in is done by medium-term scheduler. Now it is possible that a process which is running becomes suspended if it makes an IO request. And we know that suspended process cannot make any progress toward completion. So it can be temporarily swapped out by medium-term scheduler. In this diagram, you can see there is job queue. From job queue, long-term scheduler is responsible for selecting processes and bringing them to ready queue. So it will select a proper mix of jobs. Some will be IO bound jobs, some will be CPU bound jobs. When the processes are in ready queue, then it is the responsibility of CPU scheduler or short-term scheduler to schedule the process on CPU. The state of the process will become running. From CPU, a process can terminate, a process can complete its execution. And when a process completes its execution, long-term scheduler is invoked. It again selects some process from job queue and bring that process in ready queue. Now, when the process is running on CPU, some high priority process can interrupt the execution of current running process. So that process will be sent back to ready queue. It is possible that due to so many high priority process coming in the system, this low priority process is not being executed for a long time. In this time, medium term scheduler will come in action. It will swap out that incomplete process temporarily to job queue. Later on, when all the high priority processes have completed their execution, it can again swap in that process to ready queue so that it can be scheduled by scheduler on CPU. So this is how all the 3 schedulers work: long-term scheduler, medium-term scheduler, and CPU scheduler. And it is clear from this diagram that CPU scheduler is invoked much frequently than medium-term scheduler, and long-term scheduler is invoked less frequently than CPU scheduler. Now let's understand context switching. When CPU switch to another process, the system must save the state of old process and load the saved state for the new process via a context switch. Saving the state of old process means saving the attributes of old process, means saving the PCB of old process. Load the save state for new process means load the attributes for new process or load the process control block of the new process. And this action of operating system, saving the context of some old process and loading the context of a new process is known as context switch. Please, it is important to note that the state of process is also known as context. State of a process is context. It means context of a process is represented in its PCB. Now, during saving the state and loading the state, no useful work is done by CPU. So this context switching time is total overhead. The more complex the operating system is, the longer is the context switching time. This was all about the different types of schedulers. Hope you liked the session. Thank you.